Hey guys, how you going? Hopefully you're having a good day. We're here today to do a bit of a request for you. But I'm in the wrong shirt, so just let me change. Much better. Now that I've done that, I'm going to introduce you to who's going to tell you what we're up to today. Welcome, Dinger. G'day. Thanks, Dinger. We're here to talk to you today about lures, redfin lures, trout lures, and what we use mostly for chasing these fish. We've done this in the past. It was an old terrible video, and not for the trout, sorry, we've done it for reddies. We're going to do it for trout because that's been requested, and our redfin video is outdated and not looking too crash hot. So we are going to go through them over here in 1 minute, and let's go do that now. Rightio guys, here we have a few lures. Now this list of lures is not the definitive list of lures for trout and redfin, but this box is our go-to lures. So I'm going to get a few comments, people going, why don't you have one of these, why don't you have one of those? We actually have a whole lot more lures that we do have in our arsenal for trout and redfin. But these are the lures that we throw on first and try first every time we go out. So we're going to start with trout because we haven't done that before. Now, I guarantee, now there's a couple of reasons I use this over some of the others first, and it's because of the water that we fish. All right, and they're tangled already. I sorted them out a minute ago. This is a JD Eddy lip ripper. Now, this lure comes in a multitude of colors, and it's a really small, lightweight lure with a steep but not overly deep dive and a toe point really close to the front of the bib. So what that does is allows the lure to hit down, hit the bottom, and because it's towing so close to the point, it actually skips out from the bottom and doesn't dig into the crevices. We fish mainly small water. We do fish a little bit of bigger stuff, but if we're in small water, that is the lure I will tie on first time every time, the JD Eddy lip ripper. It's caught plenty of trout. It comes in a number of colors, and it is fantastic in the small water. In the small water also, but especially if we move up to bigger water, we've got the Ballista Trance. Now, being a ballista, it's got the LED technology. It lights up in the tail like all ballista lures. The reason I don't tie it on first in small water is because it dives far too deep for shallow creeks. When I talk of shallow creeks, I'm talking creeks where sometimes you're fishing in a foot of water or less. When you get down into deeper holes, that lure is dynamite. It's a good size, it has a fantastic profile, and it dives really well. So that is a close call for going on straight up as well. Then if they're not working, that's when we start mixing it up. So like everyone else, we've got a spinner. It does not matter to me what brand of spinner you have. You got rooster tails and MEPs and all sorts of different things, Selters. A spinner is something that needs to be in your tackle box if you're chasing trout. All right, that is a must. Now, doesn't matter what brand, like I said, but you must have a spinner. Outside of that, I've got the Mollix Jubarino. Now, it's a little stick bait. It's a tiny little diving minnow. It's lighter again than the JD Eddy lip ripper. And when the fish aren't super keen, that small minnow-like profile can really do the job, and it's a super shallow diving lure again, so really good for those small waters. That is a fantastic lure, and again I've caught some fantastic fish on that lure, so that's something else to keep in mind when you're out chasing trout. There's two others in here. This one is a soft plastic. Now you can use any soft plastic you like. It doesn't matter to me what soft plastic you use. This is the soft plastic we throw above all others because it's ours. It's the Murray Crabb Fat Tail. And on trout, we've had minimal success, but we haven't thrown it very much for trout. We're going to talk about that again in a minute, because when it comes to redfin, we've had some good success. So you've got that. The Kato Carnage, and this is the Bush Basher or something, I think, the 50mm. Look at the size of the bib on that though. Again, that is for deep water. You really need to be throwing that in bigger water. It's not so good in the creeks, but in the rivers where the trout are, it's a good size little lure with a good action. I love it, worth having in your tackle box. But you can see there, just the size difference. It's not our normal go-to, and people will be like, oh, throw that, you'll catch bigger fish. But 50+ centimetre trout landed on the lip ripper, they'll eat the small stuff. Like, you catch big fish on real small lures. Now this I'm going to mention because I've had a bit of success on this, but I'm not sure that you can buy it here in Australia. This is one of the lures that was sent to me by Chris from Pennsylvania. It's called a Joe's fly, and it is a fly, just a standard tied fly. Weaved into that is a stinger treble in a smaller size, and then it has this little mechanism on the front that makes it a spinner. Now it's super light and super hard to cast, but last time we were out trout fishing, I could see 6 trout rising in one pool, and I went through a multitude of lures and could not get them interested. I flicked the black one, exactly the same as this, but in black, out where I saw a trout rise, and it smashed it because they were taking bugs that were black, so I tied on the black fly. So you can fish this from a spin rod, but it is really light. So that is called a Joe's fly, and if you can get one, I recommend having one. It's hard to fish, but when the fish are finicky and you're fishing lures, that is invaluable. So I've got more lures here, but this is the trout talk so far. So these are not all of our trout lures, as I've said, but this is our go-to trout lure stuff. And if you're starting or you're not sure what to buy, you fish for other things and you want to get into trout, and you just want to know a couple of things to take with you, if you took that, I think you'd have a pretty damn good time on the water. So for me, that'd be my starting choice. If someone said I could take, what do we got, 2, 4, 6, 7 lures, they're the 7 I would take. If someone said I could take 6, well, you know, I'd probably drop the Kato. All right, so that'd be, let's call that the top 6. Top 6, 7 if you must, right? Now for redfin, some of these are still on the board, so let's just move them over here. Actually, nearly all of these are still on the board. I'm going to take those 2 out. I'm going to go in the same order again. So the first thing, 9 out of 10 times, the first thing I'm going to throw when we're chasing redfin is the Murray Crabb fat tail plastic. The reason we call it the fat tail, and this is a messy one, it's not a production model, but they're coming out, is the thickness of the tail itself. We wanted a curl tail that actually had a more solid thud, that wasn't as subtle. And people go, but you want curl tails to be subtle. Well, we wanted the curl tail action and not subtle. So we designed a curl tail grub with the tail at least twice as thick as pretty much anything else in its size range. It swims amazingly and it works. So that is the first thing I throw when I'm chasing reddies, every time. If for some reason the redfin aren't feeling plastics, then I'll go somewhere else. My next stop then is always mollusk spinnerbait. Now again, same as the spinner before, I don't care if it's not a mollusk, I just love mollusk gear and I love these spinnerbaits. They work when it's slow, they're a good quality product and you don't have to worry about whether it's going to do the job or not, so I use them. Small size, heavier size here, depending on where you're fishing, how fast you want your sink rate and whatnot. The blades on these always spin, and they spin at super slow speeds, which is necessary for fishing for reddies when the bite is slow. Let that sink down, hit the bottom, and retrieve it at such a rate that it sits down there with the blades going, drops down, go again. That's what you want. That is the second thing we tie on and fish it low and slow every time. If the fish are nailing it on the drop, if the fish are super active, pick up your retrieve a little bit. That is the number 2 go-to for redfin for us. Number 3 can be a bit of a toss-up. If those things aren't working, I would 9 times out of 10 I'd go to a hard body. Which hard body? Well, that's the question. The Molluck's Dew Bar is a jointed, slow sinking lure that you can let sink down to the bottom and work, and the action on it is amazing. It works 9 out of 10 times. Just the action alone on this lure is amazing. Work it slow, work it low, and you will get fish. But you're gonna mix that up with throwing the smaller JD Eddy lip ripper and the Ballista Trance, because on any given day, the different lure could just be working. The Trance could be working, not in white, maybe in red, or rainbow trout pattern or something else. The fish can be finicky, mix it up. But again, if we're talking about what lures I'm going to take on any given day, these are the ones I'm going to go through. I'm going to stay with Ballista next and go to a lipless crankbait, the Juggernaut. It is a well-balanced lipless crankbait in a good size for redfin, this one, and again with Ballista's LED red lights. So you've got that in there, and then after that I'd go to either a soft plastic lipless or a blade. So you've got those two there to choose from. So if, and you can throw that as well. So the reason I have a lot of these lures is you see they've doubled up. Spinners as well for redfin, and in the red gold pattern, fantastic. So if you took this box here, I would say you would be well covered for trout and redfin. Mix up your retrieval rates on everything you're fishing. Soft plastics, big arcs up and down, slow, fast, quick jilts through the water, slow retrieve, fast retrieve, mix it up, see what's working. Same with your spinner, same with your hard bodies. Mix everything up on the day. That's the key, especially to redfin and especially for trout. Mix up your retrieval and mix up your lure. If something's not working, if it's not working, change it up. Don't fish, and this is our lure, so I want to promote it. Don't fish that all day if the fish aren't eating it. It works well, but it's not always what the fish want. So don't fish that all day if it's not working. If you get a couple of follows but they're not striking it, change up to something else. But give it a go, change up. So guys, if you're heading out after trout or redfin, these are our recommended starting point lures. Again, they're not the only lures. There are plenty of other lures on the market. There are plenty of other lures in our tackle boxes, because if it doesn't work, change up. So we constantly flick through lures all the time. But when we go out chasing trout and redfin, this box right here is where we start. So hopefully, if you're just getting into trout fishing, or you're just getting into redfin fishing, or you've been doing it but you want to mix up, try some new lures, give these a go. Especially shout out to JD Eddy and Ballista, both Australian owned companies. You're helping out good quality blokes who make a good quality product. So you can't go past them. The others in there, we fish because they're good products. There's no affiliation with any of these guys anyway, but they're not local or Australian or anything like that. Or some of them might be, but that's where we would start. So hopefully that's been helpful, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and let us know if this helps you get some fish. Thanks for watching.